It's probably being held back purely by fire from land, and a few vessels were lit or attacked by these units that are acting independently right now, and they are clearly using the Strait of Hormuz as some sort of a bargaining chip, or just to hurt everybody. This is what happens when you're in a desperate situation. I've got Professor Peter Kuznick joining me. Professor, just give us a sense of how much the U.S. Navy can do at this stage or in days to come to somehow ensure that the Strait of Hormuz can remain open and some business can be conducted, because this is a very important oil route.
The U.S. Navy would come under attack, probably, as you say, from the land, not so much from the sea. But we saw what the Houthis were able to do in Yemen when they were able to effectively shut down shipping in the Red Sea there. You mentioned before the Saudi East-West pipeline that goes through the Red Sea that could ship 5 to 7 million barrels a day, but they would have to again contend with the Houthis. And we saw what the Houthis' capability was. The Iranian capability is much, much greater than the Houthis. So the U.S. could potentially do that, but it would put U.S. warships in a very vulnerable position, which is why Donald Trump has not tried to do that already.
Overall, everything that Donald Trump has said, he said few key points. They don't have, their navy is destroyed, their air defense systems are destroyed, and their leadership is wiped out. But what it still leaves for the US and the Israelis, plus the Gulf countries and everybody else to contend with, are these independent units on ground. Clearly, the IRGC command is now open, and people are just doing whatever they can do. They're using whatever stockpiles they have before they are destroyed, right? So this is like, end of time kind of a scenario for them. This is Armageddon for them, and they're throwing everything they have on either the Gulf countries or American or Israeli assets. But how long till we see this? How long can the Iranians sustain this? Plus, how soon before the Americans and Israelis are able to establish the kind of dominance that they need on land?
Well, they already have dominance in the air, but nobody seems to know what Iran's capacity is. We know that the interceptors that are being used to shoot down these $25,000 drones cost between a million, and some of them cost as much as $30 million. So the United States is spending a fortune just to maintain this war. It costs $12 million a day for each aircraft carrier. So between the two of them, that's $24 million a day. And the estimate is that the overall effort is costing well over $60 million a day. And the United States is running out of interceptors, and it's running out of armaments there. So the question is, who's going to run out first? The Iranians say they've held back a large part of their stock. So this could go on for a long time, and more of these Iranian missiles and drones could get through. So we've only seen the beginning. And then Trump starts off by saying that we're going to have regime change. Then he urges the Iranians to take to the streets. The estimate is that if the U.S. really was serious about putting boots on the ground, we need 500,000 troops in the area. But you can't take anything that the U.S. or Israel or probably Iran says at face value. Donald Trump is a pathological liar. And he said at the beginning that we needed to do this because, number one, Iran had reconstituted its nuclear enrichment program. The International Atomic Energy Agency says that's not true. Witkoff said that Iran's going to have enough nuclear material for a bomb within a week. We know that's not true, that they've reconstituted their nuclear program. And thirdly, that Iran is building intercontinental ballistic missiles that will be finished soon that could hit the United States. The
Right.
Defense Intelligence Agency in the U.S. said recently that if Iran had a program, which it doesn't, to do that, it would take 10 years. So don't believe anything that the
that Donald
United
Trump is
States.
saying. I want to come back to you with more of what he has said and what the implications are if what you are saying is right, that, none of what they're saying is correct or accurate. So why was this operation planned in the first place? Was it because Israel wanted it, plain and simple? But I'll come back to you, sir, with more on that. I want to go across to Hormaz Fatakia of CNBC TV 18, joining us with more on the market scenario. Hormaz, over to you.
It's not a pretty picture at all if you are watching the markets right now, and it's a 2% cut on the broader markets. The Nifty is down 500 points in just the first few minutes of the trading session. Remember, we were shut for trading yesterday on account of the holy holiday, and today is when the trading has resumed. And it's not a pretty picture across the Asian markets at all. The South Korean index is now down 12%. The trading has been halted there twice already. And for the Indian markets as a whole, even though not being directly part of the conflict in West Asia, but the indirect implications are too hard to ignore. The rise in oil prices, of course, being a net negative first up. The exposure to a lot of the companies over there in the Middle Eastern region, L&T, for example, stocks like those are down 7-8% already. The attacks in Qatar, which has resulted in the largest LNG manufacturers halting production there, the import of LNG from the Strait of Hormuz, and that is the worry as well. That has impacted stocks like Petronet LNG, the force majeure clause being triggered there as well. So all in all, the indirect implications are too hard to ignore right now, and as a result of which, in just the first few minutes of the trading session, we have lost almost 11 lakh crore in investor wealth. Almost every sectoral index is in the red. There are pockets of green though. IT is seeing some buying. Defense stocks, for obvious reasons, are seeing some buying in today's session, but otherwise it's just a sea of red across Dalal Street as of now.
All right, Hormaz Fatakia, thanks a lot for bringing up that update. Markets will be very closely watched out for today. It could signal what could happen for the rest of the week as well, because this conflict is not going anywhere. We'll slip into a very short break. More news and updates coming up in just a bit.